In this video, we're going to go over simple tips and techniques that I use to eliminate distractions and stay focused while I'm using the app Obsidian. These are 6 or so super simple things that you can do at any time that you're feeling a little overwhelmed by any screen or device. You open up Obsidian and what I'm going to show you will always work for you. You ready? All right, let's go. Okay, let's hop into Obsidian. So what you're looking at here is the default Obsidian theme, and I have a bunch of notes open. So I might be overwhelmed from being on the internet. I might be overwhelmed when I jump into here because there are a lot of open notes. So the first thing that I'm going to do, the number one most simple thing you can do, and don't overlook this, is to just move up here and click the create new note button. Now we have a new note. We have somewhere clean to start and kind of just reset for a moment. The reason this is effective is because sometimes we just need a calm space, a reset where we can now reorient and figure out what it is we want to do. And how simple is that? You can do that at any time. And that actually leads us right into the second simple tip that you can do. So the first thing that I'm going to do in this note is to give it a title. And I just want the title to be the general idea of what I'm trying to do. In this case, I'm going to type figure out what I want to do. It's that simple. Just title your note with what you want to be doing at the top of the note. And you might be thinking, wow, create a new note, how spectacular. And now you're telling me to title the note. Whoa, this is groundbreaking. But the world is a crazy place, and sometimes we just need to know that we can do a couple grounding rituals to get our mind right. So we're not so scattered, but we have a little bit more intention and calm in whatever we do next. Now, if you're like me, you might get hung up every now and then trying to find the perfect title, but this is where linked notes allow you not to worry about this. You can title this thing whatever, and if I don't like the title, figure out what I want to do. Or, just as often, it suddenly becomes more clear as I start typing in the note. So for example, I'm going to change this one, figure out what I want to do, to what I'm actually doing right now, which is prep and film an awesome video. See how much more clarity? So this process is iterative and it can always change what you want to do. So I click away, now the file name has a new title. So let's go even further and pretend that I've done some typing and some thinking about what I want to accomplish. So I'm just throwing in some placeholder text just so we can see how that might look on screen. Now, as I'm doing this though, I might notice I'm still feeling too distracted. I'm noticing that there's some interesting notes over here I haven't touched in a while. And the sidebar, if I start clicking on some other tabs like this, now I have all sorts of things that I might want to go into. These are rabbit holes that are great, but they're not great right now. So the next simple technique that you always can do is simply close these sidebars. So if you go to the left-hand sidebar, hit collapse there. We go to the right-hand sidebar, we hit collapse here. Now we have even fewer distractions, and front and center is what we want to focus on, and that's the only thing that we have to worry about. However, you may have noticed I still have a bunch of other tabs open, and if you're like me, these tabs can be open loops, and every now and then you just see them as this new distraction and you want to click on it to see where it might lead. So I might click on maps and say, ooh, where can I go from here? Or I might click on my concepts note and think about the cool concepts that I've identified as being meaningful in my knowledge management efforts. And then all of a sudden I'm thinking, what was I doing again? So in this case, if you click on the note you want to focus on, then there's actually a command to close all other tabs immediately except your current tab. So to do this, we're going to hit the most popular and the most important hotkey in Obsidian, which is Command P on a Mac or Control P on Windows, and we're going to start typing close, and that will give us a few options, and what we want to select is close all other tabs. So when I click this, all those other tabs will disappear, and boom, even fewer distractions. Now how beautiful is this looking now? And that takes us to the next thing you can do to eliminate distractions, because usually you might not have Obsidian full screen on your device. So maybe your internet browser is bleeding through the left-hand side, showing you all these potential portals or gateways into more rabbit holes of distraction. So that's where, if you're not already full screen, you can either manually make it go full screen, or you can click the expand button to make sure that Obsidian takes up the full screen. So that's the next simple tactic that you can do to eliminate distractions. And right on the heels of that one, The next thing that you can do to improve your focus in Obsidian is to play with the size of the text. So on a Mac, I can hit Command plus and minus to change the size. And this is where I want to go really big, because this is the only thing that matters right now. I'm just going to zoom in as much as I can, which is the setting that we're currently on. I'm in max zoom. And now I can really focus on this text, make sure that's the only thing that matters. And when you make this text big on screen, well, guess what? Any other text on screen becomes relatively smaller, both literally and figuratively. Now, without a doubt, this is the thing that has all of my attention. At this point, if you just follow these really simple steps, and this doesn't take much to do, anyone can do this, you should be about 90% of the way there with eliminating distractions and being able to stay focused in Obsidian. If you want to go the extra 10%, there's a really neat plugin that allows you to have some ambient music in the background. You might find that that increases your distractions, but some of you might also find that you need just some sort of background ambient noise to stay focused. Sometimes I'm in camp A, other times I'm in camp B, so just depending on where your levels of distractibility might be, I encourage you to try out this one. So what we're going to do is uncollapse, decollapse, expand, if you will, the left-hand sidebar. And now we're going to go back down to this settings icon. When we do that, we're going to go to community plugins. Now I'm going to not just search for installed plugins, but browse the community plugins. And all you need to do here is type sound. So if I type sound, I'll see soundscapes, and this is what we're looking for. I'll click on that. I'll go ahead and hit install. It's doing its business, and now you can see it's successfully installed. We're going to go ahead and hit enable. We can go ahead and click on options. I don't think I really touch any of the options here, so I'm now just going to exit out of settings. So at this point, what you might notice is in the bottom bar, I'm going to zoom out just one so we can read that a little bit easier. And what you'll notice is there's a play button. So if I hit this play button, now we have lo-fi beats from YouTube playing in the background. And if I click this playlist button, you can see there's more than just that playlist at our fingertips. We have all these different potential channels. Maybe you want the cozy fireplace, the birds chirping. Relaxing jazz is a really good one. And I tend to like synthwave radio every now and then to really get in the zone when I'm working on something deep. So just depending on where you're at, you can choose a playlist that works for you. Now I find that this actually does not increase the distractions. I typically go with one channel, and then after about 60 seconds, I'm in it. I'm in the ambience, and I'm really focused because of it. Now think about the reverse. Without soundscapes, what you have to do is go on the internet browser again. All the distractions of the internet, and particularly YouTube, staring you in the face. Good luck not clicking on one video and ending up going down the rabbit hole. When you have an option to just hit play within Obsidian, it really is a subtle difference maker. And if you're looking to go the extra 10% to eliminate distractions because you're really feeling there's just so much going on, that's when you want to turn to the ambient music. We want to figure out our soundscapes, and the best way to actually do that is with the soundscapes plugin. So I hope you enjoyed that technique to eliminate distractions and stay focused in Obsidian. Now, before we recap all this, and I have a couple other things to cover, I'm really curious from you. What are your simple tips or techniques or tactics that you use to eliminate distractions in this digital world of ours and really stay focused, especially when you open up your Ideaverse, your place where you're making notes and making sense of the world around you? So we need to hear from you. Please share your tactic or technique in the comments below, and let's learn from each other. All right. How was that? Let's quickly review the tips and tricks that we went over. You can see now in the same note that I've been working on, it's come into its form a bit. So I actually have a list of the things that we covered. Number one was create a new note. We learned how to do that by just clicking over here. Number two, write what you want to be doing as the title of the note. And we have that right here. Number three, let's close the sidebars. So I can collapse it just like that. And as a reminder, we can expand by hitting the same button, and that works for the right-hand side as well. Number four, close all other tabs. That way there aren't any distractions. Number 5, go full screen. Imagine you have your internet browser here, all these other windows. Let's get rid of those distractions, and it's easy. Just make your window full screen, either by expanding with this button or by dragging it so it fills up the entirety of your screen. Number 6, change the size of the text by zooming in. So you might normally, I know it might not look big on your screens, but it looks huge on mine. So I might normally be at this setting, but when I really want to focus, I need to trick my mind into focusing just on these words, so I'm going to make this thing as big as possible. So now I'm at max size, and I'm telling myself these words are important. And number 7, soundscapes. And you can see soundscapes below. I really need to kind of get my mind working at a different frequency, a different wavelength. Let's use soundscapes to help with that. So I'm going to just quickly have fun choosing a playlist. I'll hit play. It won't be immediate, but about 30 to 60 seconds in, I'm going to sink into that ambient sound and really find that I'm hitting flow. Now, as we review what's happened in this note, you should have a note like this for whatever the thing is that you're doing, and you're continually working within it as you're staying focused within this note. And you might link to a couple other notes because that's what we do with linked notes. But as you can see here, I even have a few instructions for how we want to end up filming this thing. So we want to film it Tuesday with Dan and Keaton live producing. Guess what? We're doing that right now as we speak. Say hi to Dan and Keaton for me. Hello. Additionally, we chose to use Ideaverse Pro, which is a downloadable Obsidian vault, as our demonstration vault for this video. So that's what we see in the sidebar. And this is a work in progress. We have the new version coming out, Ideaverse Pro 1.5, a couple weeks after this video goes live. And we want to make sure that instead of Prism, the theme that we normally use, we're using the default theme. So it's really made for beginners. So there you have it, 7 simple tips and tricks to eliminate distractions and stay focused in Obsidian. Now before you go, there are a few things that would really make me smile. If you like this video, go ahead and like it, maybe even subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I purposely did not introduce myself at the start of the video. I'm Nick Milo, and this is Linking Your Thinking, where we talk about the how and why of making meaningful notes. And I want to zoom out and say, this video was all about simple tips and tricks, but let's address some other things that might be going on. The world is a freaking crazy place, and it's perfectly reasonable, it's perfectly fine for us all to get distracted multiple times in a day. What happens at those points of distraction are going to dictate how we move around in this modern world and how we feel about ourselves at the end of the day. So first and foremost, don't feel guilty or feel ashamed when you are distracted and when you do go down those rabbit holes. Because as Tolkien once wrote, not all those who wander are lost. So there is some bit of exploration and wander and wonder, which is amazing. However, we also need to know when enough is enough and how can we get back to a place of intention and grounded focus. So hopefully a few of these tips and tricks can help you move from the land of distraction to a place where you feel that you're back in control, that you're grounded with your own thoughts again, and being able to work on the things that you'd like to work on. But recognize, you're not going to be perfect 100% of the time. I'm there with you. We're all trying to get better at this together. But hopefully with little tactics like this, you can be better slightly more often, and you can feel a really significant difference in your knowledge management and thinking efforts. Now, if you're feeling pretty good about eliminating distractions at this point and staying focused in Obsidian, then you definitely have to check out my video on 3 ways to get faster in Obsidian. 3 easy, simple ways. Go click on this, and I'll see you over there now.